Hello everyone, this is Assistant Professor Jacob Aros. In this video, I will be covering in-text citations as formatted per APA 7th edition. The idea of using and formatting in-text citations might be the skill that I teach that most students fear and fear the most. I understand this can be intimidating, and my hope is that this video offers a slight simplification so that those who watch it can progress in their journey with a bit more confidence and a lot less anxiety. When writing academically or in any formal setting, it is essential that you look for and look to incorporate outside research. Incorporating research does several things. It demonstrates that the points that are being written about are based on recognized facts or evidence, and it highlights the knowledge that you have as someone who is writing about the subject. When your readers see that you are weaving scholarly research in your writing, they know that you have an idea of what you are writing about. While there are quite a few in-text citation styles based on the type of resource that you use, they filter down into two types: a direct quote in-text citation and a paraphrase in-text citation. Now I'm going to explore what these are and what they should look like in your paper or writing, as well as cover secondary sources. As you go out and begin conducting research using scholarly resources or peer-reviewed journal articles, you are going to encounter information in your articles that was pulled from other sources. So my hope is that by covering these types of citations and reviewing the formatting, you will have a base understanding that you can apply to future resources. The goal is to check back to style guides sparingly, although in the meantime, I would recommend that you continue to do so until you build up your proficiency in formatting your in-text citations. Now, I'm going to be using a peer-reviewed journal article to generate the citations that we're going to explore. A peer-reviewed journal article is the strongest resource that you can use. They are constantly updated, giving you access to the most current information, and they go through a rigorous review process, so you can be sure that they are strong sources to use. The first citation I would like to review is a direct quote in-text citation. Now, this is when you take a portion of your article, typically a sentence or two at most, and incorporate it directly into your own paper. A direct quote does not mean that you have found a quote within your article, but rather that you have incorporated information from your article word for word as it is found within your source. When quoting your source, it is important that you put the quoted material in quotation marks. This is critical to helping your reader understand that they are reading the information in your paper exactly as is found in the source material. Within the citation, you are going to want to include the last name of the authors, the year of publication, and because you are quoting the source, a page number. Now, if no page number is present, which you would typically run into if you are trying to quote some information off of a website, let's say, then you would identify the paragraph number that the quote was found in. So I took the second sentence from the blurb I was showing you earlier. As the students planned and researched information to be included in the text, opportunities were needed for students to share their plans and sample information included within the text. So I was going through that article. I found that I really needed to pull that sentence out and incorporate it into my paper word for word and close it in quotation marks. As we can see, again, like we mentioned earlier, it cues your reader into seeing that this is a quote. I have the last name of the authors, Kervin and Manti, the year of publication, and the page number. Now, using a direct quote for an in-text citation can be powerful, but you do want to avoid quoting your sources in general. Putting the information in your own words instead of quoting it will enable you to incorporate valuable information without violating the 80-20 rule. Your paper should never have more than 20% quoted information. When we rely too heavily on quoted material, we are in danger of quoting more than that 20%, and we damage the flow of our paper and make it harder to understand for our readers. Now, paraphrase in-text citations are the citations that we should rely the most upon. Again, they allow us to incorporate outside information while maintaining our academic voice and demonstrating our understanding and mastery of the topic we are writing about. When we paraphrase, we put the information from the article in our own words. This allows us to break down the information in a concise way that is often much easier for our readers to understand. Keep in mind, however, that although the information is now in our own words, we must still give credit to the source of the information. Paraphrase in-text citation should include the last name of the authors and the year of publication. We can do parenthetical citations, which I have demonstrated here. You will notice that the citation is placed at the end of the paraphrase. So I took the sentence that I quoted earlier and I put it in my own words. And I've put the paraphrase we can see here at the very end within parentheses. Because I'm not quoting it, I don't need to include a page number, and I should not enclose the information in quotation marks. This next slide demonstrates what we call a narrative citation. You will notice that the last name of the authors and the year of publication is present, but instead of being at the end of the sentence, it is weaved into the narrative of the sentence, hence the name. So in this case, I've got within the flow of the sentence and within the flow of my paraphrase, I've referenced or alluded to the authors Curvin and Manti and the year of publication. Since I've put it there, I no longer need to include it at the end of the sentence. Now, I would like to discuss secondary source citations. When using a scholarly source, you will often find that the authors of your article have done their own research, and therefore the information that you will find yourself wanting to use is information that they have cited from another outside source. Now, when possible, you should seek to use that primary source or the source that your article cited. However, in the event that you are unable to retrieve that information, you will want to format your citation in the following way. I've provided an example of a piece of information that one might find valuable when writing a paper. Okay, so we'll see here this is from the same article that we've been using, the article that was written by Curvin and Manti, and you'll see here where they have quoted some information from Walsh, Asha, and Spranger. When this occurs, we should only be citing our article in text and listing it on our reference page. However, as we can see in the example, we still want to refer to the primary source as I have done. So these are two different ways that you can do it. There's with a secondary source citation, you can do it parenthetically as we see here, and you can also do it narratively. Okay, so we see my reference to Walsh, Asha, and Spranger in the narrative of the paraphrase. Here I've included at the end within the parentheses. So this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to allude to the primary source, Walsh, Asha, and Spranger, and then you're going to want to include the article that you found and have read. As a reminder, or just to reiterate, the article by Curvin and Manti is what will be listed with a full source on your reference page. You don't need to go and track down the full reference for the article by Walsh, Asha, and Spranger unless you went back, found that particular article, retrieved it, and of course are pulling information from that article by itself. However, you would also have in-text citations corresponding to that article as well. Okay. So as I've mentioned earlier, I did not cover every kind of citation or scenario, but my hope is that by reviewing what we've shared here, you will have a foundation to build off of. There are a couple of additional do's and don'ts that I do want to cover, and initial or the first name of the authors in your in-text citation. Your readers will get that information on your reference page. The citation, remember, is present in the text of your paper to give the appropriate credit source of the material, but also to help refer your readers to the full resource on your reference page. So here we're looking at an example of a parenthetical paraphrased in-text citation, and it should be the last name of the authors, the year of publication. You would not want to, under any circumstances, include the first initials here. Okay. Second, you want to be careful with the period placement of your citations. Be sure that you place the period after the citation when doing a parenthetical in-text citation, because it's part of the sentence as well. So we see here, Curvin and Manti, the period should be there, not before, because your reader is going to feel like the citation is now the start of this very next sentence, and that's not the case. If you are quoting a source no page number, and we alluded to this earlier, you use the paragraph number instead, using para as a abbreviation. So for example, if I were to pull a quote from an article and I had no page numbers listed, I would list my authors, the year of publication. I would count from the beginning of the article, the paragraphs down to the one that has the quote. Let's say that was paragraph 4, and there we go. Now, if no author is listed for your source, you want to use the title of the article and closing quotation marks in place of the author's last name. So here's an example. If I'm reading an article about the SPJ Code of Ethics, there's no author attributed. The year of publication is 2014. That's what my citation would look like. The title of the article and closing quotation marks. Finally, never include a URL in your citation. So if you're writing about, let's say, bullying, which is a popular topic that my students write about, a lot of students will go to stopbullying.gov to get information. Now, there are sections and subheadings within that particular resource, and you want to use your section or subheading within quotation marks instead of the URL stopbullying.gov. Thank you so much for taking a moment to review and watch this video. I hope you found it helpful. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.